Dear friend, my name is Samuel Ayim of CTL Africa Leadership, and I would like to invite you to our free weekly webinar, The Leadership Platform. The Leadership Platform is your space for learning everything leadership and personal development. We have been holding the Leadership Platform for the last 3.5 years every week, and thousands of leaders from all walks of life have benefited from the rich lessons from experienced leaders. As the year goes on, we are going to bring you even more enriching content. We're going to have a session called Leaders Are Readers, where every month we will bring you a book that all participants will be encouraged to read. We will share the summary of those lessons for you to guide you. We will also bring you a session on meeting with a CEO, where we will bring an experienced CEO from any industry to share their story and their lessons as leaders. Again, we will bring you the extraordinary leadership stories, where we scout out for emerging entrepreneurs and leaders doing extraordinary things in different fields to inspire you to do better. And of course, we will bring you the normal topics in leadership and personal development that would enrich your leadership. So I hope you make a date with us, CTL Africa, every Saturday, 7 p.m. on the Leadership Platform, live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. On our YouTube, you can also check some of the previous lessons for free. Make a date with us, CTL Africa, on the Leadership Platform, this and every Saturday at 7 p.m. Hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Leadership Platform. My name is Samuel Ayim, and as always, I'm excited to be with you this evening. Saturday evenings, my favorite times. Please connect with us, join us, and share the link with your friends, with your colleagues, and let us learn together. We have a very interesting, important subject this evening to talk about. So don't let anybody miss out on today's topic, because it is something that we all need. And we have a speaker who is no stranger to this platform. We would introduce him to you shortly. In the meantime, please go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us your name, where you are calling from, and let us announce you to the world. We know that many of you join and you don't show your face, you don't give a comment, you don't show up, you don't introduce yourself. We respect that. However, we are privileged, and we always excited to announce you to the wide world that you are here on the Leadership Platform, that you are here to learn. So go ahead and introduce yourself if you are connected on the Leadership Platform this evening. All right. I see Gladys Asamoah from Amasaman. Good. Gladys, you are welcome to the Leadership Platform. Tell us your name, where you are connecting from, just like Gladys has done, and we will announce you to the world. In the whilst people introduce themselves, let me remind you of the various training programs that we have at the Center for Transformational at CTL Africa Leadership, where we are here to help you develop yourself. So we have the Growth Journey running now. It's a 10-week program which will help you to refocus on your personal growth, personal development in a way that you will have never done before. We also have the Laws of Leadership, which we are registering on, which is available. We also invite heads of HR and managers to contact us with the needs of your people, and we'll be able to come to your organization and design a program that will suit the needs of your people and your leadership development needs. We also want to encourage you. We have our understanding human behavior assessment, the DISC assessment, which we will be able to do to help you understand yourself, your team, your colleagues, your wife, your children, and so on. So I see so many people announcing now. Ebenezer Niyama is here from Heritage Christian University. I see Charles Mauli is here from Takwa. I see Christian Obin from Jolu. I see Osabute Okwe from Heritage Christian University. And I see Paul Esiedu also joining us from Accra. So go ahead and introduce yourself. At this moment, I'm just going to invite our speaker, who is no stranger, to the podium and introduce him to the world. So our speaker today is my old friend and brother, Conrad Kakraba. You will see that we look a bit alike, just that he's more handsome than me, but no contest there. Conrad, thank you so much,
It's a
and
pleasure. Mm.
offering to do this for us. We appreciate you. We know the work you're doing at Heritage Christian University. We know the work you're doing at Truth TV. We know the work you're doing, teaching and inspiring young people across the country. Now, tell us,
Yeah.
what is the motivation for all that you're doing? And briefly tell us what brought you to this, briefly.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, my motivation in life generally is is to use my life in service to God, and also to impact other people who I have come across who may need the skills and
Mm,
abilities that God has endowed me with generally.
mm,
And so
mm.
that's the basis of all that I do. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
As to how I've come this far, I struggled a bit with identifying what exactly God wanted me to do with my life,
Mm,
and so I was kind of um, juggling between the sciences and the arts, and then later on, I found my path, and I was able to uh, understand that I needed to do things related to communication, teaching, and also uh, personal development. And so I was able to get good education from University of Ghana, and then later on went to Ghana Broadcasting Corporation as a news anchor for 7 years. And while I was doing that, I was also pursuing my passion, which was teaching. And so I was teaching at Ideal College, and then also Gimpa. And while I was there, I did my master's at Sikkim Manipal University, it was an Indian university. Now it's Accra, Academic City
okay.
University. So that's why I did my journalism and mass communication masters. And currently, I'm pursuing my PhD with Open University of Malaysia in communication management. And all the work that I've been doing have now been tailored towards communication. So, Heritage University, I teach communication skills, and also I do public affairs or public relations, as some people call it, for the university, which is to make sure that the university has a good image and then also is relating with the public very well. And United Nations Association Ghana, I do same for them. And so basically, that's what I do. I also run my communication company called Conrado Consult. So that's it about me.
Well, you said it so simply, but this, I mean, I see a lot that you're doing, and I know also that you have some courses for people who are interested in the media. Would you just tell us briefly about that before you jump into your
Yeah.
topic?
Right. So I also got to know that there are so many people who want to do what I do, and they always keep asking, "How do I become like you? How do I become like you?" And I let them know that there are two ways to being a media person. The first one, is just developing your talent in that field. Because many people who are doing media, it's not like the professions like maybe yours, law or medicine, that you have to have some kind of training, some specialized form of training, and then you have to be licensed and all. So there are two routes, into getting the media. The first one is the fact that you can just develop your skills, and whatever field you are in, you can bring it on board. And then the second one is to go to journalism school. So I went into journalism not being trained as a journalist. I studied English, linguistics, and history at the University of Ghana, and then went straight into broadcasting as a newscaster. And then it was while I was doing that that I found my path, and I decided to now do masters in journalism and communication. And so I decided to also do same for those who just want to hone their skills and their passions and talents in journalism. And so at Heritage Christian University College, when we established Truth TV, we decided to have a media training center as well. And so you can have 4 months training in media, broadcasting, show hosting, or graphic design, video editing, and all of those skills in multimedia. And people can do business with them, and then also establish their own social media channels and manage them. And so that's what I do for the training at Heritage, the media center. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, guys, with all that, I don't have to say much again. We know that this is the right person for us this evening to come and talk to us about such an important subject, the subject of communication, especially during disruptive situations when communication is actually very vital. So we want to look at effective communication strategies that people would need, managers would need, leaders would need, communicators would need, especially in the business world, especially when there's a crisis or when there is, challenges. How do you handle it? What are the good ways? What are the bad ways? And what you need to do? And that is why Conrad is here. And at this point, with all the background he's given us, he's the very right person to talk to us on this. So, Conrad,
Yes,
here
boss.
we are. The stage is yours. Take us away.
All right, all right. Thank you very much, and very good evening to all of you. And thank you so much for such an opportunity to come your way. I am so glad that I've been invited again onto this platform, the leadership platform. This is a place where I feel so inspired to connect with leaders and connect with other people who are doing great things in their own spheres of influence. I just encourage you, keep on doing that. Everybody has a seed of genius implanted in them by God, and yours is just to be able to germinate that, to unleash it, and also make sure that you are using it to impact your world. And so today we want to delve into this very crucial topic that my boss has just introduced, which is about leading through disruption, effective communication, and decision making strategies. Disruption is something that we've all experienced in recent times, and we know that we cannot do without it now. We just have to prepare for disruptions, and especially COVID-19 has taught us very big lessons in different areas. And one of it is about how can we communicate effectively and make decisions fast and also effective decisions, and be able to achieve our goals and objectives even though there is disruption. And so today, that is what we will be talking about. And if we have to navigate change in a turbulent business environment, there are some key things that all strategic leaders want us to look at. The first one is the fact that we must always inspire the vision. We must always inspire a shared vision. Everybody must be looking at what is the goal? Why are we here? What are we supposed to be doing, and what are we to achieve? That's the very first part of it. And so, if you're a leader, the very first thing to do when there is a turbulent situation or environment, the first thing is to let people all know why we are here in the first place, why we are here. Because many people just lose it. Once there is disruption, everybody just starts thinking about themselves and how to survive, and we all forget about the shared vision. And so that's the first thing. Then from there, leading by example. As a leader, you need to now set the pace. If you want people to do something, you need to start showing them how it looks like. And then the third aspect, which is what we will be focusing on, is effective communication. If you want the people to buy into the vision, and then also look at your example and all of that, you need to also establish channels that would be very effective in communicating with them in such turbulent situations. And then also you need to empower and develop employees, because at that time, some people feel powerless. Some people feel like they can't do anything. They're just helpless. And therefore, you need to empower them, and you also need to develop them to be able to meet the challenges of the time, or to rise to the occasion, because they would need that very well, at those crucial moments. And so that is one thing that we need to know. Now, let's delve into a research that was carried out by Grammarly, and it was about the state of business communication. It was a survey of over 1,000 leaders, that's 1,252 business leaders and knowledge workers in the US. And knowledge workers are people who are not like manual laborers. So we distinguish knowledge workers from manual laborers, people whose business it is to just be thinking. They say they think for a living. So people like us who are lecturers at the university, we help people to discover knowledge. And so we are knowledge workers, ICT professionals, doctors, lawyers, and all people whose jobs it is to just think and bring solutions to problems, that they are the knowledge workers. And this question was asked: what is getting in the way of collaboration, productivity, and employee experience in the hybrid work era? What is getting in the way? What is stopping people from collaborating, from productivity, being productive, and then also from them, their the work era, the hybrid work era, what is preventing them from really working and bringing about the very best, in the situations in which they find themselves. Now, many of them just said, well, they now see that there is trouble. They've got trouble, and the trouble is with a capital T. And what do they mean by that? They meant that the trouble that they are faced with is a trouble that has cost them so much money, running into trillions. And that's how come they said, yes, they've got trouble, and the trouble is with a capital T, is trillions, which means several amounts of money have been lost as a result of not working well with that particular challenge that they faced, not addressing the problem that they faced, And what is that trouble? Many of them, mentioned the fact that they were not able to communicate effectively. They were not able to communicate effectively, and their workers were not really getting things done the way they wanted them to do things, because they were breaking down the communication channels, and then it was affecting them so badly. They were not receiving timely responses from others. That's about 49% of the people said so. And then they were not communicating clearly so that the receivers understand the message. That's about 37%. And then also the messages that they received from others, they did not understand them. And that's about 33% of people who said that, they didn't understand the messages that they were receiving. And so a majority of the workers, that's about 86%, reported having experienced communication breakdowns and challenges, in such situations that they were working, hybrid situations where they have to work from home and then come to the office sometimes, or use different platforms just to be able to keep the work going in the face of the disruption occasioned by COVID-19. And they also noticed that they were doing a lot of work that demanded communication. They were spending approximately 26 hours in a week just communicating, either verbal communication, talking to one another, writing emails and all of that, or meeting and having, issues and discussions, around the table. And all of those things, they just noticed that there was a big problem that they were faced with, because they had broken down the communication channels. They were not using them effectively, and that was impacting on their work. They were losing several amounts of money. And the most common miscommunication issues, or the reasons for the loss of time due to the poor communication at work, these were some of the things that they spoke about. Resolving communication challenges or confusion, like people did not really know, they did not have a clarified medium of what they were supposed to do next, what were the next steps, and then also asking additional questions. Maybe they had some questions to ask, but they did not get the opportunity to do so, or nobody was asking them additional questions as well. So about 63% of the business leaders had this particular problem, and it made them lose a lot of time at work. Then there are other people too, they resolving mistakes caused by communication issues. So they missed some deadlines just because somebody was not communicating properly, and then unsatisfactory deliverables. They were supposed to deliver on certain things, but they were not doing so because somebody was failing in the communication process. And that's about 59% of people that responded that that was a big cause of their loss of time. And then following up with colleagues on deliverables, some people, they had to follow up on other people to see whether their work was being done, but it wasn't really favoring them. They weren't really getting the results they wanted. And about 52% of people, said that it cost them some time. And the total hours lost per week due to poor communication was about 7 hours or 7.47 hours per person. So which means that, there was a lot of time that they were spending at the office or, trying to work and all of that, but they were just losing a lot of time because of the fact that there was poor communication during that period of disruption. Now, you would also see that the direct costs that they found from this particular survey, the direct costs, so it increased their costs as businesses. 45% of the business leaders reported increased costs as a result of these problems that we've identified. And then the lost time, we've already spoken about it. And then the lost businesses, 20% of business leaders indicate they've lost business or deals just because somebody was not communicating well during that period of disruption. And then indirect costs, so employee confidence and effectiveness was affected. Employee retention and morale was also affected. Brand credibility, reputation, and image also went down. And then customer satisfaction and retention became a big problem as well. And so these were some of the things that they reported from these surveys. Now, so this evening, the leadership platform decided that this is a key topic that we need to talk about. If it is that important, if it has had such negative effects and so much losses, on company revenue and time and image and all of that credibility, then it's a very important topic we need to talk about. And that's how come we are here this evening, and all of us are bringing our heads together to be able to discuss this topic. And so, what are the benefits of good or effective communication in such turbulent situations, in moments of disruption? The first one is that good communication can help to prevent or to resolve a problem, to prevent problems or to resolve problems. And if you lose sight of that as a leader, as a business leader, as a head of an institution, you will be paying dearly for it. The second one, communication, effective communication, can help to keep people calm and focused, because in moments of disruption, turbulence, or something is impacting upon your company, as I said earlier, everybody keeps running around. Everybody just, loses it. What we normally call the running helter skelter. You are just, everybody's going and trying to find their own way to fix it. It really caused a lot of discomfort among the employees. And then good communication can also help to build trust and understanding. Trust and understanding. People can really trust the leaders, and then you can also trust the employees, and there will be understanding if we are able to effectively communicate during moments like that. And good communication can help to also motivate and inspire people. If we are in turbulent situations, we need to be able to inspire people. We need to be able to motivate people and let people know that, yes, we can get out of this. Yes, it is possible. Yes, we can do this together. Yes, we can still, have our heads above the waters. And then also, good communication can help to create a positive work environment. Nobody loves to work in a toxic environment. Nobody wants to do that. I don't want that. I don't want to be in an environment where there is poison. Every step you take, there is something that is wrong, with someone, the way you are gelling with someone, not because you are the cause and not because just the person is also a bad person, but because you are just not finding that level of rapport, that understanding, because you just cannot work together, or the environment that is created is not friendly enough for you to be able to thrive. And nobody just wants to survive in a job. Everybody wants to thrive. Everybody wants to bring out their best. And it's good communication that can really help us to be able to do that. Now, these are the basics of communication. Every effective communication must meet these 7C checklist. So the 7 C's of effective communication, these are the checklists that we need to tick whenever we want to assess if somebody's communication is effective or not. The first C is that it must be clear. Be clear about the goal and the purpose of your message. What is it that I am intending to communicate? Be very clear about it. And then also be concise. Keep to the point and keep your message short and simple. Third, you must be concrete, be very clear, not fuzzy, not vague. You must provide detail, but not too much detail. And then you must be correct. You must make sure your message is accurate and grammatically correct, of course, so that it doesn't confuse people. And those of us in grammar, when you write certain sentences, you know that there can be double meanings to sentences, and you need to clarify those meanings with correct grammar. And then also coherent. Make sure that your message flows well and is laid out logically so that people can follow the order in which you want them to do things. And then number six is complete. Ensure that the recipient has everything they want to understand. I mean, they need to understand, so that the message is not in pieces, and it shatters the way that you want it to be understood. And then also, you must be courteous in all your communication, no matter the situation in which you find yourself. Your message should be polite, friendly, professional, and open, because and this is really important, especially in situations of turbulence where there is so much trouble and everybody is trying to find their level, and there's so much problem, and so people just lose their cool. I mean, we all just lose it, and then people just start talking to each other in a certain way. So you mustn't lose these seven C's in your communication. You must make sure that you are clear, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, and then courteous. And so, with that as a basis, let's now look at some of the effective communication strategies that we can use, and that would also help us in decision making, because in in turbulent situations, in moments of disruption, we need to decide, we need to make decisions, and effective communication can help us to achieve that. And so that is what we want to look at now. The very first thing is to have clear communication channels. You see, the channel of communication is as important as what is being communicated. If if your channel that you're using is not really going to make the impact, it's not going to reach the people, it's not going to help them understand the situation better, they can't give you feedback. You're using maybe email, and many of your workers do not have emails. Maybe the kind of work they do is not something that they check their emails. And then of course there will be a problem there. Maybe you're using WhatsApp, but maybe the people that you're talking to or you're dealing with, they do not use WhatsApp, or they are not really active on social media. And so you will be losing out on really reaching them very effectively during that time. So you need to assess who you are dealing with, and then what is the most effective channel of communication. And you must establish transparent communication channels to keep the team informed about the changes and updates during disruptive times. So you must know, and then if you need to use different channels, different media of communication, then you must do so, because maybe you want to make sure that everybody gets the message through email, through face to face, through WhatsApp, through whatever channels, your website. All of those must at least reach one person, at least one person that you're really targeting, that you know very well that the person uses this particular medium of communication often, and there is no way that he or she would meet that particular message. And so the effective communication channels must be established. And then also, two, frequent updates. You must provide regular updates to maintain a sense of stability and ensure that team members are well informed about the evolving situation. Uh, when there is chaos, when there is disorder, when there is disruption, when there is a turbulent situation at your workplace or around you, people want to be informed. What should they expect? What should they do next? How should they manage themselves around this time? So frequent updates will make the people stable and calm, and that's what you want to ensure. You want to ensure that people are stable, people are calm, people are not hysterical and just trying to be panicky about what is going on. And so the frequent updates, don't lose it at all. As a leader, let them be updated, maybe If it's a daily basis, if it's something that you need to deal with on a daily basis, just let them know daily, and let them know mostly what times you would give them such kind of updates. If it's weekly, let them also know that it's a weekly update that they should expect, and all of these would help them calm them, and they would love to hear from you. And then the third one is that you must establish a crisis communication plan. Every organization must have a crisis communication plan, and you must have that before the crisis comes. So a well defined crisis plan, I mean communication plan, in must be in place, specifying the roles, the responsibilities, and the communication protocols during challenging times. During challenging situations, as we said, everybody becomes so haywire. And so if you don't let them have a plan earlier, and maybe train them through that particular plan, then when things happen, everybody will just decide to do what they can about the situation, and that can throw the organization out of gear. And I've seen this before, and so it is something that you don't have to take chances with at all, because it can create more problems for you. You just need to make sure that everybody knows that these are the communication channels, these are the plans that we have in case there is a problem, and let them know that these are the people supposed to talk on behalf of the organization, and these are the places we are going to be going, or this is where we should be looking at, and these are our responsibilities, and that sort of thing. So it is very important, and that's the reason organizations have PR units, public affairs units, and public relations units, and corporate communications units, and all of that, media units. And some of us, that's our job. That is what we get paid to do. That is what we are supposed to be doing, because organizations don't want to take things lightly when it comes to communicating with the public. And so um, we just need to take it seriously. If you don't have any spokespersons or people who represent you, or talk to the public about you, then you need to have that in place now. You need to start thinking about how to get people to do that for you, because it is very crucial. It can make or unmake you if you do not have people who are able to handle situations like that when issues like that arise. And also empathy in communication. You must show empathy in your communication, understanding the challenges individuals may face, and demonstrating a supportive approach, which means that you know in such situations of disruption, people will misunderstand themselves. Yeah, so you can see the picture there, and this is a common picture that we all talk about the fact that yes, I am seeing a six, you are seeing a nine, because um, there are different perspectives to different issues, and then also in certain situations as well, people just hold to their extreme positions, and they do not want to look at the middle ground. They don't want to find common ground. They just want to hold on to their extreme positions, and they don't want to look at the other person's perspective at all. But in a disruptive situation, or in a turbulent time, you need to empathize. You need to look at things from the other people's perspective, because we all need to be able to take multiple views, multiple insights, multiple perspectives before we make a decision. Yeah, otherwise, you think that what you are doing is the right thing, and what other people are doing or saying cannot be right, and that is not the best way to approach crisis communication. Number five is adaptability. We must promote an adaptive mindset within the team, emphasizing the need to be flexible and open to change. So we all need to be adaptable. Um that's basically about, we need to be prepared for change. So all of us kind of were not prepared for COVID. And so when it struck, it was like, this is something that we are seeing for the first time, and we don't know how to handle it. That's how it, many of us had to respond to it, and that was not the right way. We must have prepared ahead of time to see what possible disruptive events could happen to us. And when they come, what must we do? What are the alternatives? What are the things that we should prepare to do in such situations? So, adaptability is very key. Don't be that kind of person who says, for me, this is how I've always been, and I will never change anything about me or anything about the situation. Yeah, you don't need to change everything about you, but you need to change some things about you in order for you to be relevant and also cope with the situation. And so, if you're a church leader, if you are a business leader, you are an educationist, whatever it is that you are expected to prepare for disruptive events and be prepared to change some things. You may change the way you do some of the things. You may not change the very core of them, but at least there are different approaches to getting the thing done without spoiling or impacting your very core values. And so that's very key. And we all learned that lesson the very hard way. And we need to be prepared for that kind of disruptive event. And then also strategic planning. We need to develop and communicate a clear strategy for navigating disruptions, outlining key objectives and the path forward. So, in all our strategy sessions, we need to be looking at how do we, if something like this happens, what are we going to be doing? And that will call for decisive decision making, decisive, timely, well thought out decisions to navigate through the disruptions. And that will instill confidence in your teams. And how do you get this done? First is to stabilize the team to make sure that everybody is calm and rational and is thinking properly. And then also focus on the priorities. There may be things that may not be too important at that moment. Make sure that you push them to the background and then you focus on the priorities at that time. And then three, balance short-term and long-term considerations. Make sure that the what we need to get done now to navigate through the situation, the disruptive time, we address them, but we should still keep in mind how the long-term impact will be. And we shouldn't just solve the short term and then forget about the long term. We must look at all of those considerations and stay agile and flexible. Make sure that you are really, you're not rigid. You are not just like, as for you, you're just a log, in the water, and there is nothing that you're prepared to do in order to get out of the situation or to manage the situation. You need to be flexible. You need to be agile and deal with situations as they come, and then utilize data and insights. You must let people help you with research information that would be very critical for you to take decision. Businesses rely so much on information in order for them to make decisions, and you need to be able to communicate these insights and then also let people understand that it is based on this and that that we are arriving on this decision. Data driven decisions, insight driven decision, not just decisions that we have taken out of emotional considerations and others. And then finally, consider ethical and moral implications. As we said, in disruptive or turbulent times, we all do knee jerk reactions. We all try to do ad hoc things, like things that we just want to do temporarily, but we are not looking at the ethical and then the moral implications of the holistic picture, and that's a problem sometimes. And so we all need to avert our minds to that. And then number eight, collaborative decision making. We need to encourage collaborative decision making processes to leverage the collective wisdom and diverse perspectives within the team. We must make sure that we are bringing in the team and not just our way of doing things. We all feel like, yes, in this time I am the wisest person, and so I am the one to be taking the decisions and just going with what I believe in. No, no, no. We need to assemble the team of people that we know that have insights into that particular problem or issue, and also bring all the options on the table and try as much as possible that you do not ignore any views. You should consider all of them and weigh them on the pros and cons to ensure that you are really doing the right thing. And so, collaboration, very important, and we all need to be able to get involved in solving problems when they come. And then, second to last, is the feedback mechanisms. Feedback mechanisms. Establish feedback mechanisms to gather insights from team members, enabling continuous improvement in decision making and communication strategies. One of the things that we do not do well in is to ask people, okay, so how do you think the steps that we took have actually impacted upon this or that or that? Has it really been effective? Has it helped us? How did the customers respond? How did this, our stakeholders and all of that? We need to be able to establish these feedback mechanisms and be able to use them to inform our next decisions, because feedback is so, so important. And we would always think that when we are doing something, we should do it just our own way and we should be satisfied with it, and that's okay. No, what impact, what is the total impact on all the people who are concerned? And that is very key. We shouldn't just be looking at how have we profited from the situation. No, how have we totally holistically looked at the situation and affected those who are involved. And then finally, learning culture, just following from the feedback. So whatever it is that we got as feedback, we must now use it to have a debriefing session where we're going to analyze what worked well and what could be improved. And we should use these insights to refine strategies for future disruptions, fostering a culture of continuous improvement. And after COVID, we all had ways and means of dealing with our problems and our issues and all of that. But we should now be coming together again and look back and see what we learned from COVID. And I loved it so much when the leadership platform did a session on that, on lessons that we learned from COVID as leaders and all of that. And I think it was my boss that I listened to before the end of the year or so last year, and so that was so, so, so important that you helped us to be able to understand the implications of the times that we are living in, because that fosters the learning culture. All of us need to learn from what we have been through, and as leaders, communication can help us by talking to people, by getting feedback, by looking at situations, reading what has happened in other situations, and gleaning a lot of lessons from there, and then also putting all of them together and analyzing critically. We should be able to foster an environment of learning very well to prepare for other future disruptions. So, in conclusion, effective leadership amidst disruption hinges on the seamless integration of transparent communication and decision making, uh, which means that when there are turbulent situations, when things hit our companies, when situations disrupt the normal way of doing things, if there are problems that come our way, and we do not bring about transparent communication that would help us to have decisive decisions, then it will be a problem for us. And so we need to be able to integrate both, be transparent with people, and then also be able to timely and in an effective manner bring the decisions that we need to bring out during those times. And by fostering open channels and making informed choices, organizations cannot only weather challenges but also emerge more resilient and adaptable. After every disruptive moment, what we expect is that you should have learned from it and then become better. You should have been more resilient and more ready for change and for more improvements using all the lessons that you have learned from what has happened to be able to improve upon your operations. And so that is very key, and communication can help us to be able to do that if we do it effectively. Then the final one is that the synergy between communication and decision making remains pivotal in guiding teams towards innovation and sustained success amidst uncertainty. So this synergy of getting good information, opening the channels of communication that people are going to be communicating with us, getting all the information we need to be able to inform our decisions, all of these would help us to be able to bring about something that is really innovative, something that is really impactful, something that is new, novel, something that is going to help us to be able to bring about success, even though we have been faced with uncertainty or we have gone through disruptive times. So, just to wrap up, I would say that effective communication uh, has helped me personally, especially when I was at GTV. We had to cover a lot of emergencies. You just be there, and then they'll call you that, oh, this situation has happened, or this has happened here. You need to go and cover it, and I've learned a lot from such kind of moments. One of them was um, one of the days there was this we were reading the news. It was 7 p.m. and we were reading the news, and then normally there would be a teleprompter, somebody who would be scrolling whatever you are reading. And there was this that was a day that a plane crashed, at the Kotoka International Airport. It was a cargo plane, and during that time I was reading the news, and so the thing just came up, on the teleprompter, and it was surprising because all my life I had never experienced, or like in my country, I'd never heard about a plane crash. So I was wondering whether we should read this news or not, because you know we were just not too sure because we were up there. But once they put it on the teleprompter, it means it's breaking news and you need to read it. And so, well, at that time we had to decide, and then we read it, and we got one of the names wrong, the name of the airline, the name of the aircraft, because the person who called the station and provided the information got the name wrong. I think it was supposed to be Allied Air, something like that. And then what was provided to us was Alliance Air or something like that. So there was some homophonious words, or kind of words that sounded alike, and therefore they confused us. Now, but when we finished the news, so I was asked to now go and then check out what exactly was the name of the aircraft and what was the situation and all of that. So I had to go straight to the airport and then got the facts. Now, one thing that happened was that during that situation, because that was the first time that many people in their lives in Ghana had heard about aircraft, and so what happened was that um, the aircraft overshot the runway, which means that it didn't land where it was supposed to land. It went a little bit ahead, and it got out of the perimeter, where the fence, should we say, the fence of the airport, and then ran into a passenger vehicle, a trotro, a bus, and then carried it also a little bit into the Elwak Stadium. and that was what killed people. But when the news broke out, everybody had their version of the story. People said, "Oh, a lot of people were in the aircraft, and they all died, and all of this." And you would see that at that time, it was just a cargo plane, and I think it had only four people on board, and it was the trot that it actually carried that made people die. But because everybody had their own version of the story, they would say everything and just confuse the public and all of that until the airport company itself brought out a press release specifying all the various truths that or facts that we had to know. And this thing happens a lot when we have um, situations like that where there is so much confusion and there is so much uncertainty. Gossip, what we call the grapevine, thrives a lot. Gossip, everybody hears something and then they passes on to the next person and then goes and that sort of thing. By the time it reaches the last person, the story is totally different. The story is totally different from what the first person started with. And it taught me big lessons, in managing communication, especially in crisis. Yeah, because it's not everything that people say that is the truth, because they are seeing it from some angle that is not maybe the total picture. And there are other examples that when maybe some questions come, we may cite them. But basically, that is to let us know that in moments of turbulence, communication is very important. And if you find yourself as a leader, don't play with it at all, because people would just be pouring their information and sending out what they think is the situation and not what really is the case. And so you must be very careful about what it is and who is talking for you, because everybody will have their own version of the story. All right. So for now, my boss, thank you very much for hosting me on this very important topic. And I'm very glad that I'm able to share some of these perspectives. I pray that more questions will come so that we can address them. Thank you.
Navigating through life without a coach or a guide can be very deceiving, making you come to think that you have achieved the highest or the best you can ever, or you have made the best of decisions. But until you become very intentional and take a good stock of your life, you would not realize that it's a mistake.
Pain helps you to come out of your comfort zone.
The law of intentionality and the fact that learning is a lifelong journey if you want to be significant. Emphasis on significance.
Previously, I used to be very unintentional about the things I do when it comes to my family, my work, my Christian life, and basically everything that I do.
In the pursuit of that growth, there are gaps. There are gaps that we need to conquer. These gaps include the knowledge, perfection, mistake, inspirational, timing, and assumption gap.
And I will encourage you to be part of CTL Africa's 15-week growth journey.
I encourage you all out there who need to live their life to be part of CTL Africa's growth journey.
Please take advantage of this program and your life will never be the same.
Thank you very much, CTL Africa, and continue to impact the world. God bless.
Thank you so much, Conrad. Great lessons there. I've taken a lot of notes. Please share your learnings with us. What are you taking away? Which of the strategies or skills are you going to work on? Which of them are you applying in your life? How is this going to help you? Please go ahead and share with us your takeaways. We will bring Conrad very soon to answer. I've seen a few questions already coming up, but we have a few people who have joined. We have more people actually who have joined us, and we want to just quickly acknowledge a few of them. Stephen Quist is here from Truth TV. I have Philip Asante is here. I have Fifi BB is here. Stella Ado is here from Accra. I have Isaac Aiku Kwashi joining us all the way from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Thank you, Reverend, for joining us. Doris Atta is here watching us and saying that thank you so much, my son. Your mother is here, friend, brother, and minister of the gospel. I'm proud of you. Conrad, your mother is proud of you. We have William Dafoe is here. Confidence is here from Jolu. Gordon Upon is here from Germany, Hanover. I have Agu, I think it's Agunyo Kujo. Robert is here. He says, good evening from Heritage. Dennis Ahe is here. Abigail Techi is here from Volta region. Kwesian is here. He says, wow, this is very impactful. Ishan Precious, I see you. Inosa Ajayi is here from Cotonou. Michelle Bacha is here. I'm looking for questions now. Quindo is here also. He says, thank you so much. From Wusa is here from Heritage Christian University. Ebenezer Kwame Nkrumah watching from Fise Amasaman. Ishan says, I'm really enjoying the program. Fotuhin says, good evening, watching from Western Central region. Now, question, and Conrad, this is first question. I want you to take note of it and answer it. Maybe I should just bring you on board to try to answer the question. All right. So I have Shadrach Nanapuku, who is asking, how do you balance data analytics? How do you balance data analytics with generational business culture in influencing decision and communication? How do you balance data analytics with generational business culture in influencing decision and communication? This sounds like an exams question, so you have to get ready. And he asked another question, so you want to add that. How do you manage the drive for performance communication in view of the impact of mental health on workers? The impact of performance communication on mental health. So 2 questions there. I think they are so heavy enough. I just want you to address them before you forget them. Or you need some time to go and read your notes. Because they are
Thank
heavy.
you, Shadrach Owusu. Thank you very much. Interesting questions there. The first one is about business analytics and generational business.
Absolutely.
Now, so how I understand this question is this, that sometimes people have established their businesses, family businesses, or this kind of businesses that you have people transferring the leadership to other people that they are related to and that sort of thing, and then the way they want to do their things is quite different from the way that maybe the business information, what the figures are showing, the data, the research, and all of those things, what they're coming up with, and what new technology and where modernity is going. They don't want to go that way. They want to go the way that their family wants their business to be run, and so that's how I understand that. And basically, what you must do if you are someone who is caught up in this kind of situation, or you have to communicate in this kind of situation, what you need to do is, first of all, to ensure that you understand what kind of culture are they running, what kind of business culture are they running, because every organization with its corporate culture, the way they want to do their things, the way they want their leadership style to go. And so you have to be very honest with them. You have to be very open. You have to present the facts, the business analytics. You need to bring out all the information and the data and the research and what it is pointing towards. Now, if based on the way they want to run their business, maybe based on their family associations and all of that, and their codes, if they do not have a way to um, involve this kind of business analytics and the data and all of that in their work and their decision making, well, fair enough, you have done your part. You cannot swim against the current. You cannot overturn their business interests just because you know better through the research. You just have to make sure that you give advice, but you don't have to push it, because in the long run, it is their business interests that they are looking at as well. They may have other things that are informing the way they want to make decisions, and so you don't have to swim against the current. That's what I would say in that regard. And then the second aspect is about performance communication on mental health. So performance communication basically is about how you are giving out information to people who are assessing you, people who are expecting results from you, people who you are dealing with, your shareholders, stakeholders, and other people who management and board and all of that, and the way you are giving them information, sometimes it may not meet their expectations, and it may impinge on your health, your mental health. It can depress you because all the time they expect you to bring certain kind of results and all of that, but you may not be able to provide exactly that, and that can have a toll on your mental health. Now, what you need to do is, in terms of communication, is to make sure that you are very honest. You don't have to play the ostrich, like pretend that, oh, all is well with you. No, you have to be very honest and open, and let them really clarify what exactly they are expecting, and then also you two need to let them know why you can meet that or not be able to meet their expectations. You have to be very open and clear. I don't like situations in which we try to pretend and hide, and then feel like we are strong men and super, men, and not being open with people who are evaluating or assessing us, and then not letting them know the situation on the ground. We should be open, honest, and then straightforward with them. So performance communication should not make you feel like depressed because you just have to go say things to meet expectations. No.
Thank you so much for those answers. You remember Conrad also talked about empathetic communication.
Yeah.
Now, if you're the boss who have to set the standards, set the performance targets, it will be good that these targets are discussed and agreed. Once you discuss them and agree them, there has to be an understanding of how often feedback will be given, how often the employee is doing. And then you don't wait till the end of the year and then you come back and say, you had this target, you didn't do it, and put pressure. Or as some managers do, you wait when it's time for assessment, I will see you there, and
Yeah.
keep pressure. It has to be understood that both the boss and the employee need the outcomes, and you have to work together empathetically. And when the person has issues, needs support, provide the support. The targets have to be clear and they have to be reasonable. They don't have to be excessively ambitious. Yes, you can have an ambitious target, but you have a reasonable targets that will help. All right. There are a few others, and Ahmed Umar is joining from Tamale. Martin Frando from Dansuman says very inspiring. Paula Siedu is also here, and he says thank you so much for educating us on how to communicate effectively and the strategic ways in decision making and making effective communication skills a key to leadership. Good. Paula Siedu says God richly bless you. Ernestina Safa Adonko say excellent delivery. Joy Sapon say, how do you navigate the balance between providing timely information and avoiding panic or misinformation during a crisis? And this is very important. You need to balance the two. So how do you do that? Whilst you think about it, I know that Bright Bindim is here from Legon. And Shadrach says, great insight, Conrad. Richmond Ni Afua is here from Afua man. Okay, so that's your own man. And soon Peggy is here enjoying the program. Fleur Delise. Fleur Delise, I will want to work on the way I communicate with my colleagues so I don't get misunderstood or distorted. That's great takeaway there. All right, Susan Lache, say hello. Well done, director. And so let's take a question from Joy, and then there is another. Yes. How do you
Right.
balance
Okay.
the two?
Now, so I think we've mentioned in some of the submissions that I made earlier that first of all, you need to, before a problem comes, you must have had a crisis communication plan. Yeah, crisis communication plan. So if you don't have one right now and you don't have any problems right now, this is the time to establish that crisis communication plan where you clearly have in your communication policy who is supposed to do what when it comes to when we face a problem, a challenge, and who should be talking for us. You see, yeah. So that is one big problem that we all face sometimes, because when problems come, then everybody, it's hysterical, it's just running, and so you need to be able to establish that first. If you are a leader, you need to set those parameters right. And if you don't have it now, do it now. And when it is time, when there is a problem that comes, or it's time for you to roll out the crisis communication plan, one of the things you need to know is the first thing is to calm people down. And we've mentioned it. You have to calm people down first of all, because that is what will create the panic, knee-jerk reactions. If you don't calm them down, you need to calm them down first, and then let everybody be rational, be stay focused, and then two, you now need to be able to establish the clear channels that you want to use in communicating with the public or with whoever it is that you have to deal with during that time. So, communication channels. Then the last bit of it is you now need to be able to let whoever it is that is to do the communication for you be giving updates on how things are going and what are we supposed to be doing, we those who are not supposed to be communicating, what are we supposed to be doing, and if there is a problem that somebody is raising somewhere and you need to be able to respond to it, just let everybody else be calm and let them know that this person will respond to this or that or that. Everybody else just remain quiet, and these are the official channels of communication, because it is really, really hard in certain organizations to be able to effect those, because we've not practiced it. We have not really been used to it. But if you go to very professional organizations, you would see that all these communication channels have been laid out, people have been trained, and then everybody knows that this is how we're supposed to go when issues like that crop up. So, timely information, and then avoiding panic situations, they must follow a plan, and somebody needs to be leading that charge. Yeah.
Thank you. Joy continues to say, I'm also curious to know how you managed crucial communication as a leader during the pandemic. How did you do that? It's curious to know
Oh,
how you
okay.
managed crucial communication as a leader during the pandemic. She's curious
Interesting.
to know what you did. And
Well, thank you very much for that question. So during the pandemic, yes, at that time we didn't have. Okay, so I was working at Truth TV. Yeah, no, sorry, I was working at Heritage, and that was where we had to start Truth TV, and so for the university, I mean, because at that time my role was not as a director of public affairs. No, that was not my main role. And so it wasn't my responsibility as such to communicate on behalf of Heritage. But I, as a person who was also involved in some kind of communication planning and all of that, uh, when the crisis hit, we all had to first of all understand what it is that we were faced with, and as an educational institution, what were some of the things that would be impacted. So courses, classes had to be moved online, and it was new to a lot of students. So it became problematic because lots of people would complain that they are in the villages. I mean, they don't have internet access and all of that. But, I was a lecturer at that time. And so we had to use WhatsApp sometimes to teach our students, and Google Meet, and then Zoom and all of that. And um, uh, sometimes give more flexible timelines for students to come and submit the assignments if they had to come, physically to do so. So in terms of teaching, we were able to handle that very well. Of course, it was a learning curve for all of us, and so we had to take it easy on students to be able to figure out how they would be able to do that very well. And so, in that way, I learned a few things. One, you have to, if you are hit by a crisis of that nature, you need to be calm, don't panic. And then also, when you have agreed on a certain method, you don't need to just be too hard on people, because at that time, they too may not be able to use the communication tools that you may have established. And so you have to teach them, help them. We all had to go through all these lessons to learn how to use all these hybrid learning software and all of that. And at the end of it all, we were very flexible, and we were able to achieve the targets and the objectives that we set for ourselves as an institution, and for me as a lecturer to be able to teach very well. And I would also say that um, that was the time that Truth TV also was established. It's in 2020 that Truth TV was established. And it was also as a result of the fact that we had to use a channel of communication to be able to reach the people, the target audience that we had. And so, me starting Truth TV during the pandemic was also a way of letting the people I was working for to also see that there are more effective channels that we could reach our people. The church that owns Heritage University had needs. It had communication needs at that time. It had to spread the gospel. It had to reach its people. And so, how do you do that? You had to use the media, because at that time it was the media, the traditional media, and then also social media. and it was what brought about thinking, around the establishment of a television channel that can go to all of Ghana and 23 countries in Africa, and we were able to do that. So in the midst of crisis, they say what, necessity is the mother of invention. And so if you are not faced with crisis, you're not faced with necessity, sometimes you cannot think, outside the box. And so seriously, that was how I was able to navigate through those challenging moments.
Thank you so much. I think this will be the last question, but I know Sarah has a question, maybe, so I'll bring her up. But Ephraim Awusa is asking, how do you combat stage flight in public communication? I know this is not exactly, but it's still part of the
Yeah.
communication. So that's one of the things people are afraid of.
Yeah.
So that's the question. How do you combat stage flight? Upon Isaac is here. Martin Intia Kofrado says very inspiring. And Kaku is asking for the presentation to be on our website. So be available. All right. So
Right. So do I answer that?
yes, answer that question briefly, and let's
Okay, that's
bring
fine.
Sarah
So
to see what
thank you
questions
very.
she has.
Yeah,
And then
thank you
you'll
so
come
much.
back and give us your closing
Comments. Okay. Yeah.
remarks. Yeah,
Right.
your parting
So
shots.
yeah, Ephraim, thank you for the question. So maybe some other time we'll come on confidence building, but today is a bit different. But the few points I would let you know about first is to work on your mind. All fear starts from the mind. It's a mindset issue. It's something that you need to deal with your mind first, because that is what will start playing tricks on you. That I am incapable, I am inadequate, I cannot do this, I cannot stand up to the crowd, I cannot say anything, I will fumble, I will be nervous, I will be this, I will be that, and then all the adrenaline will pump into your body, and then you start shaking and all of that. So you have to first of all work on your mind. You need to decide that you will speak confidently to the public. You will speak wherever you find yourself and be very confident and not be afraid. Your mind is where you need to work on by positive mental attitude, having a positive mental attitude that, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can speak to the crowd. Yes, I will be confident. And then from there, you now need to rehearse over time. It won't come one day. So I was very shy. I was very, very timid. I mean, if you ask all my friends that I was in school with, they will all tell you that this guy, no, he can't talk to anybody. He's so scared. He's just scared. But then they started seeing me on television speaking to millions, and then they asked what changed. What was the transformation? It was because I just took control of my mind and told myself that, hey, I need to be confident, and then I'll do it. And then I trained myself, rehearsed severally. And even before this particular presentation, I didn't just wake up and then I just came to sit here and then started presenting. I had to simulate this. I had to do this severally the whole day, just trying to make sure that I get things right before coming on air. So you don't just wake up and feel like you're okay and you are going to present to the public. You need to practice, practice, and practice. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Let's see if you have some questions from Geneva.
Hello.
Yeah.
I my question actually is related. Conrad, thank you so much for this presentation and for educating us so well
Right.
in effective communication during crisis. So we have gone through all this. You've given us tips. Some of us know the knowledge. How do we put that into practice? And my
Right.
question, do you have a workshop, or do you have a class, or do you
Okay.
have a practice space where
Right.
leaders can come and learn this bit by bit?
Right. Thank you very much. And so, in my company, the Conrado Consult, that is one of the things that I do for individuals and companies. and people who want to personally take communication seriously. And so I have personalized training sessions for them, and then also organizations and companies and other seminars where people want to learn how to do these things in a very practical form. I'm able to deliver that, so they can contact me, and then we can talk more about that. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you so very much. And I don't see any more questions. So I guess we've done justice. We've gone through this. Conrad has shown us a lot how to be able to have an inspiring shared vision. We have to lead by example. We have to have an effective communication plan that would empower people, especially during the crisis. Have a clear channel of communication, frequent updates to help, have a plan, a strategic plan in place, be empathetic in the communication. Adaptability was mentioned. You need to be very adaptable, strategic planning, and strategic decision making. And these are some of the points. There are many, many, many more at this point. I just want to invite Conrad to give us his parting shots. Conrad.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Um, I'd like to just end with a quotation, and the quotation is from is called Masayoshi Son. That is the name of the person who brought this. He says, "Think big, think disruptive, execute with full passion." Think big, think disruptive, execute with full passion. Now, what does that mean? Yes, we need to think very big. We need to dream big. We need to plan and set goals, ambitious objectives, and all of that. But in the whole scheme of things, we also need to think disruptive. We need to think about, what about if things don't go the way we planned them? And if we have impacts, what are we going to do? And then when things happen like that, based on the things we have learned today, we need to execute with full passion. We need to be able to take control of the situation and get it cleared out properly. That way, our companies, our institutions, and all, if even our own personalities, if it is about us, we can still maintain the credibility, the brand image, and all the good things that we have worked for. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so blessed to come your way this evening, and bye for now.
Thank you so much, Conrad. That has been great. A lot of learnings, inspiration everywhere. So thank you for always honoring our invitation. It is always our pleasure that we invite you and you come. And for all the people who join us, we want to say thank you, because you could spend your time this evening maybe watching football, but you're here and you're learning about leadership, you're learning personal growth, you're learning communication. So we want to thank all of you. We do this every Saturday. We've been doing this for several weeks. We also have training courses going on. We invite you to invite us to your companies, join our ongoing programs, Growth Journey, Laws of Leadership, and other courses that we putting together for you so that you can develop yourself and your leadership. On that note, I want to thank all of you and wish you well. Sunday is coming tomorrow. Let's find a place for the God who has given you life so that you can find place to worship him. Have a very good night. See you again next week. Bye-bye.
We spend a lot of time developing our professions, but we don't spend time developing ourselves. Look, as a leader, as a professional, you have to grow. You have to grow yourself. And to be able to grow yourself, you need to know yourself. A lot of us are not achieving the maximum we can achieve because we have not invested in our personal growth. So we are bringing you this special studies based on John C. Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And we're going to just spend time with you and help you go through the principles that you need to be able to grow your person, to become a better person. Because if you become a better person, you become a better leader, you become a better father, you become a better professional. Do not miss this opportunity, as the masterclass is going to be very practical and discussional. It is going to be a limited number of people. So please register now to be part of the program.